What's going on YouTube? It's your boy T McNeil from USA Reviews. I'm back again today with another video and story. I want to let you guys know that my girlfriend and I went out last night to go see the movie Detroit. If you haven't seen this movie yet, I would highly recommend it. This video today is just going to be, my 2 cents on the story and the movie. The acting, the whole 9 yards. So again, if you have not seen this movie, it's called Detroit. Basically, it's it's an African-American story in the city of Detroit, Michigan, back in the 1960s, and it's talking about the rioting and everything that happened after Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. Excuse me. Now, the interesting thing about this story was that I never knew personally that there was rioting that happened in Detroit, Michigan. I knew about Washington, D.C. I knew about Montgomery, Alabama, but I didn't know that Detroit, Michigan also had rioting as well. And, the story also takes place in, I believe it's the Algiers Motel, where there was, an intense interrogation between the African Americans, the police, and also 2 Caucasian white girls in the movie as well. So, of course, all this is based on a true story. So, what I'll do, guys, I'm going to go ahead and play the movie clip. If you guys haven't seen the trailer yet, here it is, and I'll be back in a moment.
When we have these conversations, we do them in stages. Stage 1, witnesses. Stage 2, suspects.
What happened at the motel?
Turn that radio up.
What you gonna do?
Nice does, man.
Thanks. We were performing earlier.
I'm performing. He has lost control. Take a look at him now.
Police was there. There was a lot of shooting.
Police! Fire to the other floor!
You don't talk about this to anyone ever. You understand? It's a war zone out there. They're destroying the city. I'm trying to help here.
Don't say another word.
Come on. I told you what I saw.
What is going on here?
It's not that simple.
I know exactly who you are.
Okay, guys, so that's the trailer. Like I said, we went to go see it last night. And, first of all, everything that you've seen in that trailer is a trip. And that's just the trailer. But I find this to be very interesting, that there's a lot of American history out here that hasn't been told yet. There's a lot of stories that just have not got out to the open, for the public to see and hear. So, guys, like I said, it's a good movie. First of all, I want to talk about the acting. All these actors in the movie, I think, were fantastic. They all portrayed the real characters. The real people the way that they supposed to. Excuse me, guys. Again, it's like the trailer said, it's very riveting. It's very heart-pounding. That scene in the motel, that thing was something else. And I can just only imagine, what the real people actually went through in that hallway. Now, apparently with the hotel situation, there was some kind of misunderstanding. Now, I'm going to try to explain this the best way I can, without giving away too much. But basically, the police and the National Guard at the time, of course, they were all downtown in the city of Detroit because the rioting was happening. A lot of the buildings were being burned. A lot of looting was going on, etc. So naturally, the government's going to call in, the National Guard, etc. So the police, National Guard, they're working together. They're trying to bring order and peace to the city of Detroit. Now, they already had gotten reports before that there was some sort of a sniper that was supposedly present in the city at the time. So what these couple of black guys decided to do was taunt the police, which I think was a big mistake. Now, basically what the guy did was he shot the gun out the window. The city was ultra quiet, so that's the only thing that you can hear. It spooked the police naturally, and that basically started a whole lot of mess. So in a nutshell, the police got together, the National Guard got together, they started going building to building. They started mapping out the grid and everything in the city, trying to pinpoint the location of this sniper or supposed sniper. So, eventually they did find where the gunfire was coming from. And it was the Algiers Motel. And that's when everything pretty much hit the fan, because the guys that was doing the shooting saw that the National Guard and police pulled up to the hotel. They got scared and nervous, and they decided to try and, hide. They're up there shuffling around. They basically, cut off all the lights. They started, moving the blinds around in the hotel room. Again, that spooked the police. Shots fired inside the room. Now they're moving into the room. So then we get to, the scene in the movie where, the interrogation is going on. The police is trying to find out who the sniper was. And, they use a lot of different, illegal tactics back then, a lot of scare tactics, against African Americans, to try to find out, exactly what happened, So they would take one in the room, blah, 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 and they would tell them, hey, be quiet. And they would fire the gun to scare the rest that's on the wall out in the main hallway, And again, these is the tactics that they used back in the day to try and scare, the African Americans. So I can only imagine, like I said, they were just acting, but I can only imagine, what they went through from an emotional standpoint. And I can also, I can't even imagine too what the real people again went through in that situation. So of course, these guys were race soldiers, and the thing that I like about the movie is, it depicts a lot of what's going on now in society. Now this was back in 1967. Between 1967 and 1968. This is now 2017, and we're seeing the same similarities from almost 50 years ago to now. The police are doing the exact same thing. Now, in the movie, there was, some murders point blank. There was one guy, again, not trying to give away a lot of the movie, but there was one gentleman downtown looting, and police rolled up on him. He took off running with the groceries, and police shot him in the back. So, point blank, as the guy was running away. And we all know that that's illegal. You're not supposed to do that. But again, this happened in 2017. This happened last year in 2016. It's happened in 2015. And so on and so forth. So, again, a lot of comparisons with the time of what's happened in the 60s to what's going on in 2017. I think a lot of the scenes in the movie was pretty uncomfortable, and I commend the director for that, because they wanted to create that atmosphere. They wanted the audience to feel like you were there. That's the whole point of the movie, to feel like you were there, so that you can know and understand what my people went through back in the day. So like I said, it's an interesting movie. Like I said, the acting, guys, was top notch. Those actors and actresses really got into the characters. And it tells a story of our struggle. In the black community, it really tells a story to a T. And I'm proud of this movie. I hope everybody goes out to see this movie. I hope everybody goes out to support this movie. And like I'm doing now, get on social media, get on YouTube, etc. And get out there, and it's called word of mouth. So you have to get out there and you have to tell someone about this movie, so that we can continue to support projects like this. So then that way, when they see that the African Americans are supporting these kind of projects, more of them will follow. Because again, as I stated earlier in the video, there's a lot of more stories out here, that haven't been told yet. So again, it's imperative and it's important, like I said, that you get out and you learn not only American history, but you learn African American history. Learn your ancestry. Learn where you come from. Learn, and not only that, but also know where you're going. Be productive in society. Do something with yourself. Because there's so much bad going on out here. There's so much, heartache, pain, and turmoil going on, that it's easy to just lose focus on what's important. But again, just like the movie Malcolm X, just like the movie Selma, etc. This is another movie. Even another movie. What is the name of that movie? Birth of a Nation. 12 Years a Slave, etc. I mean, all of these movies are important to our culture and our history. Because not enough of these movies are being made, and not enough of them are being produced. So, we have to continue, like I said before, to support it. So that way, we always have, these projects out. And it's important for the current generation. It's important for the generation that's coming up behind me. It's important for the generation behind them as well, and so on and so forth. Everybody needs to know their heritage. Everybody needs to learn their heritage, and just, you just know where you come from. So again, if you have not seen this movie, I highly recommend it, that you go out and see it. I don't know if it's rated R, and it may be. There's some violence. There's some sexual content. I mean, it was in 1960, so what do you expect? But again, it goes to show you, what African Americans, once again in this country, as I always state in my videos, have to go through in order to achieve something in this society. It shows it point blank. It's going to show you and bring you into our world, so to speak, and our issues, and what we have to, again, go through in order to go from step A to step B to step C, and so forth. So guys, like I said, I highly recommend it. I'm going to give this movie definitely a 10 out of 10. I think the writing was superb. I think that the acting was superb. Again, I think the screenplay was very good, etc. All right, guys. So I'm gonna get on off here, but do me a favor. Make sure that you like the video. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you guys think about the movie. If if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend to go see it. If you have seen it, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think about it. and you know, how you feel about the movie. You know, how you feel about, you know, what's being done, what's being talked about. And also make sure that you smack that subscribe button for more videos. Okay. And also, guys, actually, before I get off here, you know, there's another scene in the movie where, you know, not only shows the racism, but it shows the inequality of the American justice system. And we all know that the American justice system has failed African Americans on many, many occasions, and it still is. And, you know, this was back in the 1960s, so it was no different than now, and vice versa. You know, but I'm not going to say, you know, any more of what happened, but just know that the justice system is screwed up. All right. So, all right, guys, so I'm getting off here again. This is T. McNeil from USA Reviews. You guys have a good one. I'll catch you in the next video. Deuces.